Making powerful new friends, the Saudi Crown Prince shaking hands with some of the world's richest businessmen on a past visit to the United States. Well, now a UN report alleging that the Crown Prince in early 2018 was trying to hack perhaps the most powerful of them all, the world's richest man, Amazon CEO and founder and Washington Post owner, Jeff Bezos. Now, according to two UN experts, they've received information suggesting a WhatsApp account linked to MBS allegedly deployed spyware onto Bezos' phone months before the killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Well, the experts say the information points towards an effort to influence, if not silence, the Washington Post reporting on Saudi Arabia. Well, French human rights expert Agnes Callamard is one of two United Nations rapporteurs leading the charges on these findings. She also headed to the investigation and the report into the execution of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. She joins me now live via Skype. Good to have you very much. Good to have you with us. Now, a source close to your investigation has told CNN that the hack was deeply sophisticated and hard to trace. I mean, it couldn't be too sophisticated given we're now talking about it. But the UN did not have direct access to Jeff Bezos' phone. So just explain for us what evidence you did have access to.
Okay, so we had access to the report done by the consultancy firm FTI, which was vetted by the FBI. We need to insist on the fact that the investigation of Jeff Bezos' phone is part of an ongoing FBI investigation into the blackmail of Jeff Bezos. So FTI took responsibility for investigating the phone and did so under the most stringent conditions regarding chain of evidence. They subsequently gave us a copy of the report so that we could assess it. And we contacted additional experts from around the world, cybersecurity experts. There was a back and forth of exchanges between FDI and our experts. And at the end of this process, we felt reassured and convinced that the probability that the phone of Jeff Bezos was hacked through a WhatsApp account linked to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia was indeed very high. And let me also add the fact that the process of investigating the phone is indeed very difficult because those viruses have the capacity to self-destroy. So it is not a straightforward investigation at all. It's extremely complex and very difficult to trace.
And it did, of course, take a year to find the source of the hacking, I should point out. But we have heard from the Saudi Foreign Minister about this hacking claim, who went on to call it absurd. Just take a listen.
Well, I think absurd is exactly the right word. The idea that the Crown Prince would hack Jeff Bezos' phone is absolutely silly. And my understanding of the UN report, it's not actually a report, it's a statement based on a report by a private company that has not been vetted by any independent agency and that has, in its own conclusions, no hard evidence to substantiate the claims it's making.
So, Agnes, I want to get your response to what we just heard.
So first of all, the statement is wrong. The FTI was vetted by the FBI, and the investigation of the phone is part of an ongoing FBI investigation, first of all. Second of all, the process that was followed by the FTI, as I explained, met the most stringent conditions. Thirdly, the nature of the malware, the nature of the virus is an extremely complex and effective virus that is able to self-destroy, that is able to mutate and cannot be traced. It's just very difficult to trace it. So there is no smoking gun. No one is claiming that we have a smoking gun. What we are pointing to is a medium to high probability that the source of the hacking was indeed the the WhatsApp account of Mr. MBS, they explored other possibilities, other hypotheses, and none of them worked. Is there a smoking gun? There is never a smoking gun when it comes to this kind of forensic analysis on the basis of our current level of technical capacities, which is why we wanted to go public, because it is important for us as special rapporteur to send a wake-up call, to send a warning, first to people who may have had dealings in Saudi Arabia and who may not be aware that their phone may have been compromised with. And more generally...
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, actually, about other phones that may have been compromised, because the White House has stayed largely silent on this major development, which is not completely surprising, given that President Trump is always hesitant to lay blame on Saudi Arabia, who he sees as a key ally. But you've also got his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who seems to be very close with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. They've spent a lot of time together, and his own attorney says that he has a direct line via WhatsApp with the Crown Prince. What are your concerns?
Well, I mean, my concern for his mobile technology are the same as with anyone else that has had that kind of relationship with the Crown Prince or anyone else within the court. They must be aware that it is possible that their phone has been compromised. And I will hope that Donald Trump's son-in-law and anyone else is at the moment either changing their phone, checking their phone, and contacting the best cybersecurity expert so that we can get to the bottom of that hacking strategy and policy. And I'm talking about it as a broad policy, because at the time of Mr. Bezos' phone hacking, there were other phones that were being hacked, and we do know about them. There too, the forensic analysis was done that pointed to possible malware. These included the phone of Saudi dissident. What's important with Jeff Bezos' case is that we now have the proof that the Saudis do not only target the phones of dissidents living abroad, they also include the phones and the mobile technology in general of people of strategic interest to Saudi Arabia. Hence my call, hence my warning.
Just very quickly, you say medium to high probability that it was the Saudi Crown Prince's WhatsApp phone that sent this virus. In terms of a percentage, what is that? Is it over 70%? What's that likelihood?
I honestly cannot give you a percentage. I mean, it's a medium to high. It's definitely above 50. It's closer to 80. But further than that, these are the protocol followed by a cybersecurity expert.
Right. All right. Agnes Callamard, always good to get your perspective, especially on this very important story. Good to have you with us. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.